Hi. So by now we all know the story of Anne Sewell's Black Beauty, or an extracted portion from the big story Anne Sewell's Black Beauty. We know it, okay? The story, the text of our chapter 3. In this video, we are going to discuss the comprehension part, okay? So remember, exercises questions are not that important. They're important not for exams, but for us to understand, to get a rather clearer or crystal clear idea about the story itself, about the theme of the story on which the entire story is standing. Okay, that's why the questions, this exercise is important. It actually helps us practice our thoughts, practice our thinking on that very particular idea. Okay. Now what I am going to tell, I am going to explain, those are all my ideas. Please use these ideas as your guidelines and try to frame your own answers. Do not copy my answers, because maybe in places you may find that you are not at all agreeable with what I am saying. Yeah, it's okay. If you find me wrong, that's all good. But in that case, write your answer with a point, with a reason, with a cause, okay? So that you can defend your answer. Your answer may sound, your answer should sound or would sound solid, okay? Put a reason in your answer. Now, first one was, I am in page number 23, filling the blanks to complete these sentences. These are all one-liners. You have to read the story, you have to read the text thoroughly to fill these blanks. I am not going to help you with this. First one, I am going to help you a little bit. This much will work. A1, the house that the narrator lives in is called. The answer is written in the illustration which is in page number 20. The answer is somewhere here in this picture. So look at this picture carefully. You will find it, okay? I am coming to page number 24B. Okay, so here in this chapter we do not have any reference to the context question. I rather prefer reference to the context once more than these questions. Those are more interesting. These are a bit blunt, boring. B. Answer these questions. Why is the narrator proud and happy about living at Birtwick Hall? Because the narrator, the horse, and everyone else in the hall, in the farm, were or are treated equally, treated in a very good way. That's why. Treated in a very humble, human way. That's why the narrator was so happy. The narrator is so happy. I'm just giving you the ideas. Use this as your guidelines and try to elaborate those ideas. Or if you have your own ideas, please elaborate those ideas. Do not, you are in standard 4, so at least write answer of 3 to 4 lines, not just of 2 line or 1 line. Do not. You are expected to write more and more. You are in a senior class now. Why did the master and mistress want to make the lives of animals better? Because they are human beings. Because that's very natural. Because that justifies my identity, my existence as a human being. How did they achieve it? By doing it. How can you achieve good marks? By doing studies. So how can you achieve something? By doing it, by putting your effort for it. They actually used to do it. And one more thing, they practice it in their own lives, that's one thing. And also, if they see or if they come across that someone else is doing it, they took preventive measures. They have taken preventive measures. They scolded them, they forbade them not to do so. Okay? So in these 2 ways they achieved it. What was a dreadful sight for the narrator? That Mr. Sawyer was actually hurting that very pony very badly, very inhumanly, very rudely, very intensely. The master says to Mr. Sawyer, by such anger you injure your own character more than you injure your horse. What does this mean? Remember that I am behaving with someone, it actually presents my nature. It actually reflects how am I as a human being. So when Mr. Sawyer is actually behaving rudely with someone, it reflects its presence to us, Mr. Sawyer's human nature. And we can say that no, that man is not good. because either it can be a human being or it can be an animal. That doesn't matter. Most important thing that matters is how you are behaving with the other creature. The plants, us, you, we and you, us, me and you, us, the dogs, cats, all other animals, we all are together creatures. Which examples does the master give to Langley to explain cruelty to animals? It is here. Explain this, the second last paragraph, that heads up. Second last big paragraph, this one, I am underlining from this one, page number 23. Okay. Langley, you are a military man. Like to see your regiment look well on parade, you say heads up to them, but you would not take credit for your drill if all men are tied to a blackboard. If they are doing it on their own will, good. If they are not doing it on their own will, that is forced, that is not something good. So, and it is just the same with horses. Pond upon it, horses are intended to have their heads, ours are. So I have underlined, to see military man, to see your regiment look well on parade, heads up, you would not take credit for your drill if all your men had their heads tied to a backboard, if they are doing it on their own way, by their own will, they are doing it spontaneously, only then you can take the credit of their drill. Otherwise you are forcing them to do so. They are being forced, otherwise they will get hurt. So they don't have any other option than practicing it. That's why they are practicing. I am talking about when they are being forced. Okay. Now, but if they are doing it on their own will, by their own will, that looks good. That's something natural. Think and answer. I am thinking and I am answering. So you are supposed to think by yourself and you answer after that. Why do you think the writer chose to tell this story from the point of view of the horses? Because animal cruelty, we are talking about animal cruelty, and we are not animals, we are not those animals, so we can never, rather we human beings commit those crimes such as ill treatments to animals. So instead of us empathizing them, it's more convincing if we hear the story from their point of view. It's more convincing in that way. What reasons did Mr. Sawyer and Captain Langley give for treating their horses badly? Mr. Sawyer, that my pony, do you know that my pony loves to practice its own will, and I don't like that. And Captain Langley, that's the fashion. I want my horses always heads up to be like this. Were these good reasons or bad reasons? No. Why not good? Always remember, independence or free will is a basic necessity. Apart from food, oxygen and four walls or a shelter, the one thing that we all love to practice and we all should enjoy or we all should have is that free will, the practice of free will. Independent India, we live in independent India. Before that, we used the patriots, the freedom fighters, they struggled a lot to achieve the free will, the practice of free will. So that's the importance of free will. Anything that actually stops me from practicing my free will, all those things are bad. All those things are bad, according to me at least. I love to practice my free will. Okay, bye.